breathing feels painful. The sun's rays beat down upon you. It's so hot. You need water. Your head is killing you. You lift your head. There before you, impossibly, walks Ram, your plush animal. No. No, no, no. You shake your head. That isn't real. There, Legol croaks. Your eyes follow his outstretched finger and land upon an oasis. Adrenaline takes hold. You both run toward the oasis and watch as it dissipates. Alas, it was a mirage. So hot, so thirsty. Water. Ram waves to you. Are you hallucinating? You don't know anymore. So hot. Water. You feel your consciousness slipping away. When your eyes finally open, you find yourself back on board the sand skiff. We better find some water, Legol grumbles, shaking sand out of every possible crevice. Apparently you hallucinated everything that just happened, which means you'd better find... You nod at him and begin searching your surroundings for potable water. You open the treasure chest to snatch it up, but it's empty. Legol's shoulders drop in unison with yours. As consciousness threatens to forsake you, you catch sight of a young man. You've come at a very good time, he chirps. Well, for me at least, he says, launching into a story before you can get a word in edgewise. His words flow as quickly as the quicksand that brought you here. Legol musters every last ounce of his strength to try and interrupt the torrent of babble, when suddenly... You see, I was about to be attacked by foul beasts, the youth says, beaming. Yes, you've come at a very good time indeed, he chirps again, which must be his way of asking for your help. You certainly haven't the strength to escape. Looks like you're in for a fight. Battle time. Calling upon the steel primal helped you fell the monsters. But before you can catch your breath... What on earth was that? The youth says, rushing up behind you from his vantage point for the battle. He peppers you with questions and comments in his breathless style. That was the steel primal, wasn't it? The fact that you can control it means you're one of the fabled subterrans. You are, aren't you? I had no idea you actually existed. Well, if today isn't my lucky day, if you don't mind my asking, how do you control that beast? I have deduced that the card you're holding there is the key to controlling them, but beyond that, Ugh. Whew, this guy sure can talk. He pays your pained expression no mind as he carries on, finally realizing that he has yet to introduce himself. The young man's name is Polka, and he's on a long, winding journey in pursuit of monsters to study. As if you hadn't heard enough, he asks if you'd like to hear an explanation about the primals. You agree that you would. As the words leave your lips, you realize just how addled the heat has left you. Polka, however, hasn't even done you the courtesy of waiting for an answer. He's already chattering away about the primals. There are 3 kinds, he tells you at breakneck speed. In addition to the steel primal, there exists a fire primal and a frost primal. And all are powerful enough to cause changes in their natural environment because of reasons. Unfortunately, your fevered brain can parse no more of his blathering. Look, we helped you, so give us some water already, Legol barks, clearly out of patience. Finally, Polka closes his mouth for the first time since you've met. He looks rather contrite, for he, too, has no water on his person. You stare at him, speechless. You know, I'm actually rather thirsty, he says, and collapses into the sand. Clearly, his was a thirst brought on by incessant blabbering, rather than fleeing from monsters. You both look at Polka's crumpled form, and then at one another. Mind and body pushed well beyond their limits, the two of you finally surrender to sweet, sweet unconsciousness. You awaken to find yourself lying down inside a tent. Startled, you leap to your feet. Well, you seem much better, a woman says sweetly as she enters. She says she found the 3 of you collapsed in the desert and nursed you back to health. You thank her and quickly ask where she's taken Legol. She tells you Legol woke up not long before. He and Polka are at a stall outside. You exit the tent to find several more lined up before you. It looks like you've been picked up by a caravan. A simple but sturdy tent stands before you. It's suitable shelter in even the harshest environments. You arrive at the stall to find Legol and Polka devouring food as if it were a competition. You heave a sigh of relief upon seeing them alive and well. Legol notices you as he reaches for a bit of food. He stays his hand and instead beckons you over. "Get in on this," he says between bites. You waltz calmly up to the table, snatch up an entire barrel of some liquid or other, and proceed to drink it dry. Having eaten and drank your fill, you offer thanks for the meal. According to Legol and Polka, a stout man treated them to their meal at the stall earlier. You find the man hurrying about busily and thank him for the meal. "Ah, you're all awake," he says with a satisfied nod. He introduces himself as the circus's ringmaster and explains that they're on a tour of the desert. As someone fascinated by the circus, you'd always wanted to talk with a ringmaster. It's your lucky day. Before you speak so much as a syllable, the caravan is beset by monsters. You all draw your weapons and prepare for a fight. Polka barges into battle unannounced. "I too shall fight," he proclaims. Legol asks if he can fight, to which Polka replies that it comes with the territory when one studies monsters. You're in for a world of hurt if you underestimate science, because science makes medicine, and you shouldn't underestimate that, Polka rambles, drawing his weapon. You take up arms shoulder to shoulder with Polka and prepare to fight. The ringmaster thanks you profusely for defeating the monsters. It seems the countless monster attacks are to blame for scattering his troop to the winds. He's at a loss for what to do. You notice, however, that the number of sighs he's peppered his story with feels very intentional. He looks your way rather bashfully. You suspect he wants your help. Of course we'll help you, Polka blurts out before you can answer. But the three of you expect fair compensation for the effort, he adds slyly. Polka turns to you and Legol, grinning from ear to ear. Let's get going, he chirps excitedly. Did you hear him correctly? Yes, it seems like you did. And just like that, you and Legol have been roped into helping too. Legol objects, only to be drowned out by Polka's contemporaneous rebuttal, a treatise on the value of money and friendship in travel. And so it goes that you, Legol, and Polka end up combing the desert for lost circus troopers. You all look quite well, the woman says, her wide smile narrowing her eyes. You swear you see Legol briefly shiver in fear for some reason. You spot an open-air stall with a sign reading, "Goods bought here." You enter the stall and hear the proprietor call out to you. "Welcome to my exchange shop. I'll pay good money for your goods. But this'll determine how good the money is," she continues, revealing a single die in her hand. Without warning, she sets about closing her stall. Apparently, you were her last customer for today. You gather up your things and take your leave. You look out over the sea of quicksand as it sparkles. Sand doesn't sparkle, does it? No. No. It's filled with half-buried items. Having come to the same realization, Legol and Polka each pull out a rod and line. You ask what they intend to do with it. Go fishing, they respond. You've never had a chance to fish before, so you decide to help them. Each minute feels like an hour. Then, the rods whip sharply downward toward the quicksand at the same time, locking Legol and Polka in mortal combat. The rod quivers. It's caught something, that's for sure. The two of you haul the line from the sand and find a curative at the end of it. Polka hands you the curative after confirming that it's unopened and hasn't been tampered with. Get him! A sudden gust of wind blasts you. The next instant, you find yourself engulfed in a sandstorm. You can hardly see. You all drop flat to the deck of the sand skiff and try to ride out the storm. Sand pounds the hull, making an awful sound. After a time, the wind settles and the storm clears. You take stock of your surroundings and notice something catching the sun's light. It's a bottle of curative. Something catches the light in the sand. You pull it loose, revealing a somewhat tarnished bangle. That might be the bangle capable of freeing the sand prowler czar, Polka blurts out. To hear Polka tell it, the Sand Prowler Tsar was a monster that once ruled this region through fear and despair. And he's careful to note that some monsters still revere this Tsar. Well, legend has it that the Sand Prowler Tsar is sealed in the sand ruins, Polka explains. If Polka's telling the truth, then you're holding something pretty dangerous. You figure it can't hurt to keep something so potentially valuable and slip it into your pack. You sense another long polka lecture coming and start walking. You hear the sound of feet hurriedly whooshing through the sand as he tries to... Those were just his feet, right? Yeah, had to be. You happen upon a tent pitched in front of some ruins. Might there be another performer within? You peer inside. Why, yes, the young girl you see before you may well be one of the performers, but she's rather tearful at the moment. Are you with the circus? Polka asks gently. The girl nods. Yes, beast tamer. Circus, she says through her tears, before begging for your help. Wading through the fragmented words, you gather that a monster swallowed her performing partner and ran off. She goes on to lament that this is all her fault, as sobs rack her body anew. We have to help her, Polka says softly. He declares that he cannot abide turning away from someone who's been separated from someone they care for. You're inclined to agree with him. So long as there are lives to be saved, you'll fight to save them. Are you okay? Legol asks carefully, sensing that you're in pain. You nod and begin walking toward the ruins. That's how it's done. Battle time. Sometimes you get lucky. Battle time.
how it's... Beautiful. To battle. Get him.
Wait a minute, Polka says suddenly. He begins tapping on the wall in several places, listening intently as he does so. There's nothing behind this wall, he says, pointing at one section of it. Not one to wait for permission, Legol strikes the section of wall with all his might. And what do you know? Polka was right. The wall concealed a hidden chamber. That's a scientist for you, Polka boasts, puffing out his chest. Science is awesome, you reply, jaw slack with wonder. I expected.
A masterful victory! To battle. Sometimes you get lucky. Battle time. Sometimes you get lucky.
Polka stops you. Wait a moment. That wall looks suspect, he says, before giving it a solid thwack. Legol shakes his head. We should just break it down. He hits it with all his might. And with that, the wall crumbles, revealing, to your surprise, a hidden passage.
Sometimes you get lucky.
The door is shut tight. It has a keyhole, which suggests the existence of a key. You attempt to open the chest when suddenly a band of cackling monsters appears from the shadows. It looks like they were using this chest as bait. They waste no time in surrounding you and attacking.
Fear not, though their card shows a coffin. Oh!
Having defeated the monsters, you decide to try opening the chest. And when you do, you find inside a key of seemingly little value. All the same, Polka picks it up and tucks it away, a pleased look on his face. One never knows when a key could come in handy. Let's take it just in case.